Hello and welcome to Paul Pluta Prestige. Today I'd like to talk about the Sinn Navitimer. And what exactly is the Sinn Navitimer? And to the untrained eye, it looks like Sinn has copied the Breitling Navitimer, and it looks very, very suspicious. But what actually has happened here is in 1979 the Breitling company went bankrupt, and parts of the company were liquidated. Mr. Helmut Sinn bought the rights to use the dial layout of Breitling's 806 and 809 Navitimer watches. And this is why they look so similar to the Breitling Navitimer. It's not an illegal rip-off, and Sinn still owns the right to produce these watches. And interestingly enough, many of the Breitling spares and hardware of the time was sold off. And later in 1979, Breitling was sold to Ernest Schneider. And I just got to say, it's quite an interesting story. Another person told me that Helmut Sinn, he bought the rights to the Navitimer, and then Breitling didn't actually have the rights, and they went to court. And because Helmut Sinn was only a small company, well, he was the owner of Sinn, they didn't have enough money to fight it. But it's certainly interesting. And Sinn also has the rights to produce a Navi-style watch, and it's quite an interesting thing. What's happened is that they, the movement which Lamania used to make, decided to only supply companies which were sister companies of the Swatch Group. So Sinn looked for a different type of movement, and they settled on the Valjoux 7750 automatic movement, which is actually similar to what Breitling uses themselves. So it's an interesting thing. The Sinn Navitimer, in some ways, it's more. There's a couple different versions of them there. There's the Lamania one, and there's the Valjoux 7750 one. And it's quite an interesting piece to have there. It's certainly interesting history, and in some ways the Sinn Navitimer is possibly more true to form than the Breitling Navitimer. I'm Paul Pluta from Paul Pluta Prestige. I hope you've enjoyed this look at the Sinn Navitimer.